Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be looking at a clip from radio and TV presenter Jeremy Vine again. I didn't see the original post, but it must have been a little negative for him because he made a follow-up trying to justify his actions. This is the clip that we're going to be looking at today, and it's also the clip that I made a comment on. Quite soon after my tweet he blocked me, which I'm not bothered about in the slightest, but what I am bothered about is his poor roadcraft that he's trying to justify, and other people might copy. Let's have a look at the clip in full first of all.
People are saying, why did you drift right just as he came out? That made it harder for him. No. But there's a reason, and I'll show you in a second. No. What are you doing? Why'd you do that? You're a dangerous driver. Now, going back to this example of pulling away from the turning car, here's Oxford Street. This van is going right. Now, if he does that, no! I'm moving left. And there's an even better example here, although it's less dramatic. Bayswater. Now, I've used a red arrow to show you a tree that's going to block the car behind it. And you see the car with the white arrow. So my response has to be to shift right a little bit so that if he decides to come out, he's got more time to see me. That's it. There's nothing sinister about it. It's just preventing him from making a mistake that hurts me.
First of all, the effect at the start of the clip masks the approach to the pedestrian crossing, and the conveniently timed zoom also masks the lady walking towards the zebra before the cyclist arrives. Should the cyclist have given way? Possibly. This effect at the start also masks a pedestrian that's walking towards the car that emerged poorly. If we also take into account the placement of the bin near the zebra crossing, this is definitely enough to potentially block the approaching cyclist from view. This is not an excuse for the driver, but it is something any good road user should pick up on approaching a similar situation. Jeremy actually alludes to this point correctly later on in the Bayswater clip. My question is, if the cyclist knew about this positioning to be seen, why didn't they position earlier in the original clip? They only start to move to the right when the front of the car emerging was already halfway in the lane. The next point I'd like to have a look at is regarding the cars that are queuing just past the junction. If I was driving, I would leave road users space to emerge from the left, but don't forget cyclists are able to filter, so there was no real need to hold back for that reason, even though it was pretty pointless to go further up as there was another zebra crossing only a few car lengths later, and this was also in use. I always say, if you can't proceed, let someone else. So what the driver of the car did was poor, but actually understandable given the situation. And this is why I'm constantly challenging these clips to hopefully spread some better roadcraft skills to the wider cycling community. However, I'm under no illusion that this will probably just cause a negative, toxic reaction, because apparently I'm not a proper cyclist. In any case, Jeremy seemed oblivious to most of these things. Would you have been? Now, let's have a look at what I was talking about in my original tweet to Jeremy. I've already covered the Bayswater clip and its difference, but what about the Oxford Street clip? I thought Jeremy rode brilliantly in this. It was obvious that the van driver hadn't seen the cyclist. Jeremy was loud and verbal. He slowed down to be able to stop before the radius of the turn, and he moves away to increase time and space. This was all good because Jeremy and the van were arriving at the same place at the same time, and this is how collisions happen. However, the original clip is much different. The moment the driver of the Audi started to emerge, it was clear that risk is totally different to the van clip. The two road users are not arriving at the same point at the same time, and all that's going to happen is a little bit of inconvenience. I would have held primary, slowed down a little and allowed the problem to clear, and then I would have moved up. This process is summed up by my common phrase, make it a non-event. But that's not Jeremy.
coming at
Why'd you do that? You're a dangerous driver.
Jeremy does mention a couple of other points in his clip, the first regarding the wearing of seatbelts. And the wearing of seatbelts is really important. Since 1981, when the wearing of seatbelts became mandatory, ROSPA estimates that this has saved around 7,000 lives of people per year across Europe alone. All I would add though is that some people do have exemptions for medical reasons. My final point is regarding the driver not giving way at the pedestrian crossing as they should have done. This is again poor driving, but after any altercation where tempers are raised and swear words are exchanged, concentration will always be reduced. I would like to ask whether Cycling UK, ROSPA, the DVSA or in fact the police would agree with Jeremy's approach on altercations. Challenge is needed for poor road use, and this is where myself and Jeremy stand shoulder to shoulder. But that's just about all. Keep safe everyone. I hope to see you soon.